Hey everybody, this is Ray from Hot Rod Ray. Welcome back. If you're new to the channel, good seeing you. Hope you stick around and see more of our videos. If you're one that watches all of our videos, great. Like to see that. Leave some comments and let us know what you're thinking about the videos you've seen. As you can see, we're at our engine block again. It's all painted. If you haven't seen that process, you can go back into our previous videos. We show how to prime and paint the block. Our way of doing it, you may have a different way. I know if you get a hold of some of the guys that do hot rods for show cars and stuff like that, they definitely have a different way of doing them. But this is the way we do it, and we're going to continue doing it our way. So we have freeze plugs that are going to be going into the block. Where we'll be putting the brass ones in. The freeze plug actually got its name. It's a core plug, realistically, is what it is. And these holes here in the block, what those are for is when they sand cast these, they need a way of getting the sand out of the inside of the block. So they make these what they call core plugs. Excuse me. And so when the block is all casted, they can pour the sand out of the casting, and now you have your water jacket. Well, over the years, people have apparently run poor antifreeze or no antifreeze, mostly water. And in the wintertime, when things freeze up, these have a tendency to pop out. So they started calling them freeze plugs. Industry standard calls them a freeze plug at times as well. So, but these are the core plugs. We are going to be putting those in today, and we're going to be using the brass ones. I like the brass better than steel. So let's get at it. If you use steel plugs, that's fine. You know, that's your prerogative. The manufacturer uses steel plugs. What I do, just for a little extra sealing, is I use, in this case, the black ATV. I like to color coat my engine with my paint, and I like to color coat my RTV with that, so it doesn't stick out quite so bad. I like the look of our brass freeze plugs, so I don't paint my freeze plugs. Not the brass ones anyway. Steel ones I will. So what we're going to do is put just a fine little layer of that around here. We've already cleaned up our little holes with Scotch-Brite pad. And all you do with that is you just kind of rough it up a little bit in case there's a little bit of rust that started forming, or a little bit of paint or something that may have gotten down in there. You can scratch the paint out and then get the rest of it up with that. And sometimes you'll have the number, like this one here has got 1 5/8. Sometimes they'll say made in USA, whichever. I don't know, I'm just anal, I guess. I like to kind of put that up where it looks like I meant it to go in that particular area and that way. So a little anal, I guess. You can put yours in any way you want to. And let's see if we can get that to dry straight down. There we go. A little bit more on this side. Okay. All right. Now, as you can see, we're flush with our... Yeah, I'm not quite flush there. I can use another little hit on that side. There we go. Okay, and you can stop there if you want to, because these are the deeper plugs. So I think what I'm going to do is actually take it, oh, not this one. I'm going to take it just a little bit further, and what I'm going to do is use a socket that goes around this lip right here, not one that goes inside, because with these being brass, if you go inside here, you can actually crack that or pull it apart. So we're going to be pushing on this upper edge on these ones. So, and I'm just going to go just a little bit further. And you don't have to slam her home, guys. It don't take a lot of torque to put that in there. And there we go. I can wipe a little bit of that dust and whatnot out of there. There we go. And that's how you do it. So we're going to go ahead and do the rest of these up. I'll do it off camera so I'm not boring you. But while we got you right here, we got these plugs here. We're going to go ahead and put one of those in also. And I use a thread sealant on those. You can use multiple styles of thread sealant. Just whatever thread sealant you use, make sure it's a good quality one that isn't going to leak in the future, because whenever you get your motor in your vehicle and you get everything all hooked up and dialed in, you get headers on it and whatever, and a leak on the side of your block is one of the worst things you can experience, because it's one of the hardest things to get back to. So we're going to go ahead and get that on there. And that is a 9/16, so we're going to go ahead and snug that up good. And again, these are brass, so they will strip really easy. Snug them down good. If you got a good sealer and you got a brass threads, they should seal pretty good. There we go. Okay, and that's basically the look that we're going to have on our freeze plugs when we're all done. We're going to have a nice black block, and we're going to see these brass plugs. So we're going to go ahead and put the rest of them in, and we'll be back in a few seconds. Okay, we're back with engine block here. As you can see, we have all of our brass freeze plugs in, and we have our brass water jacket plugs in. We have our freeze plugs in on this side, or in the front as well, is this side here. So what we're going to do now is we're going to put the cam bearings in, and that's this tunnel right here where the cam goes in. As you can see, these ones have been removed. We have an oil galley there, passage. We got one that goes through here, and it comes up underneath here as well. So we will explain the way we do it. Fellas, I'm not a professional engine builder. I don't pretend to be. I just do my own engines, and I do my engines my way. You can get on a lot of forums, and you can find a lot of different ways of doing these cam bearings. This is the way I do them, and this is the way I've been taught to do them in the past. So I'll explain this to you. If Teresa wants to come over here to the bench with us. And basically what I've done is I've made a cross here, a 90-degree cross to each other, and I've put a circle with this being the middle. And so what we have is we have 12 o'clock, 6 o'clock directly below it, 3 o'clock, and 9 o'clock directly across from it. So basically this is a clock that we're going to be using. Okay, this being 2 o'clock here, and this being 10 o'clock over here from our 12 o'clock. And basically what these two numbers here represent is the two holes that we have here in our number 1 cam bearing. Okay, so what I have done is I've taken the cam bearing and I've lined the holes up with 2 o'clock and 10 o'clock. Just like that. So when we put this in, those holes will clock at 2 and 10. Then what I did is I come down here to 6 o'clock and I just put a little Sharpie mark right there. I can move that up maybe so you can see it better. And then I mark this as number 1. Okay, and you're asking, how did I get all that information? Well, when you get your box of cam bearings, they come in a box and they're all in these little deals here. And they come, this flap was actually right there, I just tore it off. And they come with this set of numbers. Okay, the 2021-DR goes in position number 1. So you're wondering, okay, which one is which? Well, if you look real close, I don't know if the camera's going to pick it up or not, but that number is real lightly stamped right here. And that tells me that this bearing goes in position number 1. Now, this is the only bearing that has the 2 holes in it, and that's in position 1. So we have 2 other numbers here, 2022, and that bearing is in position 2 and 5, and in 2023 is in positions 3 and 4. Okay, position 1 will be closest to the timing chain. That'll be the front of the engine. So this bearing right here goes in position number 1. So what I've done over here is I've went 1 through 5 and I have numbered my cam bearings, and I've also put them in order. So this one here has got the number 2022 on it, and that is in positions 2 or 5. So this bearing here and this bearing here have the same numbers on them. And then these ones here also have the same numbers on them. According to my little flap that I just showed you, that's the way that is. Now, I showed you I indexed this one here by clocking it over here, so I'm at 2 o'clock and 10 o'clock with these 2 holes. Now what I want to do is I want to take these other ones here and I want to clock those ones at 2 o'clock. So when I put them in the engine, they'll be at 2 o'clock. So again, I took my bearing and I set it over here and I lined the hole up with this right here, which is 2 o'clock, and I put a little mark right here with a Sharpie. So I have that on there. Now, this is bearing number 2, and I'm going to put it right back over here by my number 2, and I also have it marked number 2. So I'll put it like that. Now you're asking, why did I do all that with the marking of that? And I'll show you. Once we take our engine, this will be the top of our engine, this being the bottom of our motor. Okay, when we put the cam bearings in, our top is no longer going to be on top as we flip the motor. We're going to be doing this with our engine. Okay, so now the top of our engine is going to be facing the floor, and the bottom of our engine is going to be facing our ceiling, because when we go to put these bearings in, we're going to be working our engine from upside down. So now when we take this number 2 cam bearing and we set it right here where it's at 2 o'clock, which is now our 10 o'clock, or I mean 8 o'clock, excuse me, 8 o'clock. So this is now 8 o'clock. There we go. And this will be at 4 o'clock here once it's turned upside down. Okay, and if we tip this up now, you'll see that that black little line is pointed at our 12 o'clock position. Okay, now let's go back over here to the engine and see each one of these mains have a hole here that goes straight down. Okay, so when the engine is upside right, that's actually at 6 o'clock. But now that our engine is upside down, these are all up at our 12 o'clock. So when we slide those bearings in with our engine upside down, we'll be able to take a flashlight and look through there and make sure that everything is lined up with our clocking. Now the only exception is our back bearing here does not have a hole here, but we do have this bulge right here in the casting of the block, and that is in the same line as what all these are. So all we have to do is actually just line up with this and we'll clock that back one in. And hopefully that makes sense to y'all. I don't know if the camera's going to pick that up or not, but there is a bulge right there, and it's got a little point kind of to it, so we'll be able to line that up. Okay, so we'll take this and put it back here at our number 2 spot, because that's our number 2 bearing. Now, like I said, we have these in order, but what we want to do is we want to start at the back of our block and work our way forward. So we're actually going to start installing number 5 and work our way to number 1. So the very first one that we're going to want is this one here. And again, number 5, there's my mark, and there's my hole. So if we set this over here, like this, there we go. It still lines up. This is our top now, and we're over here. So when we take and we turn our engine back over, there we go. We're at our 2 o'clock. I hope this all makes sense to you guys. So okay, so what we're going to do is we're going to take our cam bearing tool and we're going to go ahead and install it through our block like this. Like that. I'm going to get my number 5. So here, number 5. That's our indexing mark that we put on there to clock everything in. And I am going to try to slip that in there. Just like that. Okay, now if you can see the tool, I'm going to line my tool up with the gap between the installation device here. This has got 4 little prongs on it, and as you tighten it up, they expand out and squish between each other and start to press against our cam bearing. There we go. Okay, so I got my centerpiece here of my engine block. There's my mark and everything. So now what I'm going to do is take my cone and push that in here. Now that keeps everything centered, guys. That's important that you use your cones. And I'm going to take a hammer and I'm going to push that cam bearing in. Teresa, if you want to watch the cam bearing there. Okay, now, if you're not sure if you're in far enough, all you gotta do, loosen your tool just a little bit and back it up. We can obviously see that we're not in far enough because our groove is way back here. I'll get a light and shine it in there. Okay, so here's our oil feed groove back here. Let me get an ink pen. I can show you a little better with that. See here? Here's our oil groove right here. Now these holes we want to line up into this groove, so we're going to have to push that in there further. And we'll push it a little bit, we'll check it, we'll push it a little bit, we'll check it. You know, because if this is the first time you've ever done these, it can be a little intimidating, so we'll just take it easy and we'll just do it step by step. So I'll go ahead and I'll put my tool back up in there. Now my tool is all rubber on the end, guys, so it shouldn't be making any scratches or anything. Okay, so there's our tool back in there. I'll stick my cone back in the front. Okay. Need the light? Okay. Teresa's gonna try to shine some light in there for you so you can see it better as she's recording. And I'm gonna try to push that in there without moving the engine back. Okay, now we can check it again. All we gotta do is move our tool. Okay, you can still see just a little bit of the groove right there. You see your flashlight there for a second. And you can just see we're just barely starting to get in there. And let me get a pick here real quick. Now be careful doing this, guys, that you don't scratch your bearing. But you can actually take a little pick. I don't know if I can do this and still. Okay, and right there. So, yep, we need to go further because the pick isn't even going into no type of groove. So we'll push it a little further. Use the flashlight, Trace. Go ahead and put my tool in there. Okay. And we'll push it a little bit further. Now if you guys have done this quite a few times, you know what about how much to push these in. So, but if you haven't done a lot of these, just take it slow and easy. You don't want to push them too far. Okay, now let me see your light there, Teresa. Okay, it looks like we're maybe just starting to get in that groove. Let me get the little pick. Let's see if I can maybe come from the back side here. Okay, yep, there we go. We're there. There we go. See how that pick goes in there, guys? Just like that. Okay, where we want to be. So there you go. That's how we put the back one in. Now, the back one is a little bit harder to work with because, again, you can't really see in there that well. But we'll move our tool forward just a little bit. And we'll get number 4 here. Okay. We'll take number 4. We'll see if we can get that up on our tool. Just like that. Okay. Now this one here we may have to tighten up a little bit more. Just hold that and see if we can get that. Bring that bearing over just a little bit closer to my mark here. Yeah, I must have it a little too tight. Come on. Let's see if I can roll that bearing just a little bit. There we go. Okay, now as you can see, we're lining our mark up, or yeah, mark on our bearing there with our hole. Get my cone in here. Okay, here we go. Alright, now we're going to go ahead and back that up just a little bit and see how close we are to our groove. Excuse me. Oh, we gotta. Looks like we're just starting to get into it. So we'll have to go just a little bit more. There we go. Okay.
Move it so I can get it from that side, because you can't see.
Right there. We could push it just a touch more. I think we're really close. We could push it maybe just a little bit more, but it looks really good. Yeah, you can see both shoulders. Yeah, I think we'll leave it where it is. Okay. So that's how you put your cam bearings in, guys. The one in the front, like I said, has the two. And what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and install this one and this one. And we'll be right back in a second and we'll show you how to put this one in. Okay, we're going to do the first one here, our number one. There's our indexing mark, and we're going to line it up right here. Just like that. We're going to get it kind of started. Let's see if I can put my foot up here so it don't take off on this. Oh, okay, loosen that up and see where we're at. Okay, I can clearly see that we're just about to where our groove is, so I'm going to go ahead and put this back in there, tighten it up just a little bit. Loosen this up. Okay, looks like we're there. Yeah, looks like we're there. could push it in just a freckle more maybe, but looks like we're in our groove good, guys. So it is sticking out just a... Here, let me push that in just a little bit more. I want to at least be flush with her, so we'll tighten our tool up here a little bit. There we go. Okay. Yep, we're in our grooves good. Okay. So, there you have it. That's our cam bearing install. So what we're going to do next is we're going to clean up our workbench a little bit, and we're going to prep our main bearings, and we're going to go ahead and get our crankshaft ready to set in here. So we'll be back in just a few seconds. Okay guys, we're back. As you can see here in the block, we have our upper main bearings set in here. Now these are the ones with the holes in them. So they line up with the holes in the oil galley, so everything oils the crank good. This one here is obviously the back, because it's got the thrust sides on it and it's thicker and wider. The rest of them are all the same. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to grab my crankshaft here, and I'm going to hopefully very carefully set the crank down in there. So we can I think I got, there we go. Very carefully set it on our main bearings. Here we go. Now I got just a little mist of WD-40 on my bearings. So what I'm going to do is I'm not going to rotate my crank or anything. I'm just going to kind of make sure that it's seated in there real good, and I'm going to wiggle it just a little like that. And I'm going to take a little bit of plasti-gauge. Comes in a little deal like this. See if I can open it up to get it out. It's really fine, so you might not even be able to see it on the camera. See if we can get that to come out of there. Okay, I'll try it like this. I'll see if I can get a little piece of it in here. Stuck in the packaging just a little bit. It's just enough where I can't grab. There it is. Okay. Now, I don't know if you guys can see this or not, but it's about the size and diameter of fish line. Let me see if I can get a little bit of a white backer behind it. There you go. Maybe that's better. It's about the size of fish line, and it's real soft plastic, basically, is what that is. So what we're going to do is we're going to cut just a little piece of this off, maybe 1/4 inch long or so, and we're going to set it across our crankshaft main right here, and we're going to torque the main cap down. I'm also going to put one up here on the front, and we're going to torque that down at the same time. And then what we're going to do is we're going to remove them, and we're going to check the squish with the little gauge provided, if you can see that. So I'm going to go ahead and cut a couple little pieces off of this. We're going to lay that right across there like that. I'll get another one for the front. We're going to lay that across there. Well, sticking my finger more so than it's sticking to the crankshaft. There we go. Okay. I'm going to put my rear main bearing in the cap. Now you got these little tangs here. Make sure you line the tangs up with the tangs in the block and the tangs in the cap. Just like that. And push this down in there like that. And then we're going to take this. Now, this one's got a tang on this side, and this one's got the tang right here. Okay, so those tangs line up. So we want to put it on like this. Just like that. We're going to take our bolts. And we're going to do the same thing with the front one. We have number 1 right here. We're going to put our little tang right there. We're just going to push that down in there like that. And our tangs line up here, and we got a little arrow there that points forward. This is being the front of our block, so we know it goes just like this. And we'll go ahead and put our bolts in like this. Okay, I have got to go get my torque wrench, and I got to get a socket. So Teresa, if you want to just go ahead and shut the camera off for a second, I'll be right back. Okay, we're going to go ahead and torque these. First we're going to torque them to about 40 pounds. And then I'm going to raise them up to the specified 75-pound torque. Just kind of snugging them up right now, making sure everything is seated down. Let's get this front one the same. There we go. Okay. Okay, there's 40. We'll go ahead and go up to our 75. Okay, we'll double check it. Okay, now I'm going to get a regular ratchet and we will bust it loose. I'll be right back. Alright, so now we're going to break it loose. slow and easy. Okay, let's see if we can get this front one to wiggle off there. Okay, it might be easier to see it here on the main cap or right there. I can also shine a light on it so it's easier to see maybe. Okay, now what we're going to do is we're going to see where we're at here. Now we're just a fuzz over the 2000s. And we're just a little under the 1.5. So I'm going to say we got about 2/1000 thereabouts of maybe just a hair over 2/1000 of clearance. So for being a stock crank that's got some miles on it, that's not bad. It's not bad at all. So let's go ahead and see if we can get this back one come up out of there. See if we can shake it. I'm going to have to tap it with a hammer just a little bit. There we go. Okay. Now this one here, let's get our, looks like just a little more than 2/1000 there. It's more than that one. So yeah, we got a little over 2/1000 of clearance, so that's not bad. We're going to go ahead and clean that back off of there and off our mains. We'll go ahead and put them down and we'll check our other three, and I think we're going to be okay as long as the other ones are in good shape as well. So I guess we're going to end this video here. We're going to go ahead and run the mains and everything on it, and on our next video we should be putting the pistons and rods together and dropping our pistons with the rings and whatnot on it in our block. So we're going to go ahead and end this one here, guys. I hope you're getting good information from this. If you have any comments or whatever, feel free. We love reading your comments and commenting back with you. So give us a thumbs up, subscribe to the channel if you would, help us out, and that's what keeps us going and wanting to do more videos, is associating with you all. And don't forget to hit that bell so when our next video comes out you'll be notified right away. Thanks a lot for joining us, and we'll see you on the next one.